Welcome to our Facebook Live from Boston, Massachusetts, where we're here with two representatives from HBX, that's Harvard Business School's online global initiative. Today we're going to be talking specifically about the Credential of Readiness, which is also known as CORe. We call it CORe a lot on our social media channels. And that's a suite of 3 business courses that's designed to prepare you for the world of business, whether or not you have a business background. About 2 months ago, we launched a partnership with HBX that allows JA alumni to get preferential pricing on HBX CORe and this exclusive suite of business classes. And since then, we've had a lot of interest and a lot of questions about HBX, about CORe, about how it works for JA alumni. And so we decided to come to the experts. And we're here with Kristina Anderson and Ross Pearo of HBX. We're going to be asking them a lot of questions that you guys have asked us on email and on social media, and then we'll be taking your questions. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. We're really thrilled to be working with JA, and we're looking forward to having a number of your alumni participate in CORe early in 2017.
Fantastic. And we appreciate those of you who are dialing in late from certain parts of the world and dialing in very early from other parts of the world. We are a global organization, and so we tried to schedule this at a time that would work for everybody. All right, if you guys are ready, let's just get right to it. I think the first question that people have is just sort of the basics. What is CORe? How does somebody know if he or she is prepared for it? What background should that person have? And then what are the benefits to the person taking the course?
Sure. So Terry, CORe, as you mentioned before, is composed of 3 courses: Business Analytics, Economics for Managers, and Financial Accounting. And it was really designed to be the fundamentals of business education, and the faculty at Harvard Business School wanted it to be, a unique learning experience that was really active, social, and case-based.
Yes, we really wanted to make sure that the program was accessible to anybody that had an interest in the subject matter. So, it's essentially taught at the level of an upper-level college class, but it's really designed that anybody that is interested and engaged and willing to do the work can be able to complete it. So we're looking for people who have completed generally 1 year of college, and it's really designed for people that are wanting to really understand more about the business world that we live in.
So talk to us about how this is different from edX, which was the MIT Harvard initiative, and then I think there's also Harvard X. So those are free online courses. This is not. So what's the difference?
So edX is often what's called a MOOC, or a massive open online course platform, and it's really characterized by really large numbers of people who enroll in a course, but very small numbers actually complete it.
Oh,
and when we started out, we wanted to do something that was very different. We wanted it to be not only an experience that was uniquely Harvard Business School, which, as Kristina mentioned, is an active learning experience.
Yeah.
It's case-based and it's
Yeah.
very social. And that's not really what the edX and Harvard X platforms are designed to do.
Right.
So we built our own that was going to facilitate the learning model that we're really good at here at Harvard Business School. And we wanted people to be completely engaged in the content and the learning experience overall. And that required us to do something a little bit different,
Right.
and at the same time charge for it, because
Yeah.
it's not inexpensive to be able to create the content and the learning environment that we did. And we wanted the people who are participating in the program to really be fully engaged in every respect.
So what is your completion rate versus, you said it's low for MOOC, the average MOOC. What are you guys looking at?
A typical MOOC, if they get into the high single digits, I think they consider it to be fairly successful. At HBX, we're consistently well over 80%. So we're really thrilled with the fact that not only are people engaging, but they're actually working their way through all of the material. And when we think of completion, we set a pretty high standard. That means not only going through all the content, that also means sitting for the final examination in CORe.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And the other part of the CORe program that's very unique also with completion is that there's this social aspect and building a network.
Right.
When you go through the course, you're going through with 300 to 400 other individuals and building that network, and it's also, it really holds you accountable for the work that you're going through the course.
Yeah, I've taken many, taken many MOOCs and haven't finished, but maybe 2. So, yeah, so this is great. 80% completion rate is really impressive. So in the end, in terms of sort of your resume, your LinkedIn profile, how is this different from a MOOC? You know, it's actually going to be there on your resume as a Harvard course?
Absolutely, and it is a program of Harvard Business School.
Wow.
So we encourage everyone that goes through the program and successfully completes. Those people who are able to demonstrate that they've really mastered the material and participated can actually complete the program with honors or high honors. And we really encourage them to put it on their resume, put it on their LinkedIn profile, and employers are starting to really recognize it because it's a great indication of not only mastery of the content and an interest in the subject matter, but also the motivation and a person's willingness to really apply themselves to something that requires a pretty substantial investment of time and effort.
And it's great too for working individuals that want to make a change in their career and they're looking for the foundations of the business language. So it's really nice for them to make a transition, but also to grow in their current career. If they need a new set of skill sets to bring them to that next level, that's another great element of the CORe program.
And that's going to be a lot of our JA alumni. They've been in the work world, they've been doing some really great work, but maybe they're just ready to move into management but don't have that background to do it. So before we get into the specifics of what they'll learn, which we'll do here in a minute, I know a big question that we get a lot is cost. It isn't free, so what is the cost? I mean, Harvard Business School is really, really expensive, right? And well worth it, but out of the reach of somebody who's can't come here and live in Boston for a couple of years. So how does it compare to that, and what could we expect JA alumni to be paying for this course?
The program itself is really designed to be as financially accessible as we can possibly make it. And for the vast majority of people who enroll in the program, the cost is $1,950.
Okay.
We're really thrilled to be able to offer preferential pricing to JA alumni. So we're able to offer a 20% reduction in our fees to $1,560. And it's our sincere hope that that's really going to allow a lot of people to participate in the program that might not have been able to otherwise.
And you can do it from anywhere, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so let's get into some of that. So how does, now you said it's economics for managers, business finance,
Business analytics.
And tell us about those 3 classes and then how the learning works, how this happens online and what the experience is like.
Sure. So as I briefly mentioned before, CORe was designed to kind of bring the dynamics of the HBS classroom to life. And that's what the 3 faculty, what they really focused on in creating the CORe program. And they wanted it to be active, which means that all of the lectures and videos that you will see are no longer than 3 to 5 minutes. And then you're interacting with the platform, which is really great. And there's polls, there's reflections. They've also built in, the famous cold call as well into the platform, which is really great. And then the social element, what I mentioned before, is that you are going through with 300 to 400 other people, and they built in peer help where you can pose questions and other participants can respond. You can also comment on cold calls throughout, which is another really great element. And then the case-based. So that's a really unique part to the learning.
So you're taking this course with 300 or 400 other people, which is part of what gets you to do your homework and take your exams, right? And do what you need to do. That's part of the completion rate. Then it also builds this network of peers this global network of people that who are in the same, have the same interests that you do, and some of the same experiences.
Yeah, we found that people who take the CORe program really do build strong relationships, and they maintain them after the course is over.
That's right.
We see them continuing to engage with each other on social media and other platforms, talking about business issues. Actually, some of them are even starting businesses together.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from JA alumni as they take the courses. We'd love to, have you guys check in with us, tell us how it's going. Maybe we can create a smaller network of people who have gone through the coursework and our JA alumni. That'd be fantastic.
And through every program, every course that's offered, we also create a private Facebook group for all the participants that are going through that cohort. So that's another really great way to network with people that are going through CORe and to pose questions and to be, interactive on the social media stream.
Fantastic.
And one thing that I think is really important about the course experience is it's what we call asynchronous.
Okay.
which means that you don't have to be online at any particular time of day or day of week. There's a tremendous amount of flexibility that's built into the way we deliver the content so that you can work the way you engage in the program into your own schedule.
Right.
So it is a global cohort. We've had people from just about every country on the planet. They work with each other at times that are convenient for them, and the way we've designed the learning experience is that you can, if you're located here in Boston, you can still engage really effectively with people in Europe and Australia and Africa.
Right.
It's really amazing.
So how much of an investment are we talking about in terms of time? Is it like a college course, a regular college course?
So right now, we currently offer different cohorts that are in the span of either 8 to up to 18 weeks.
Okay.
And the time commitment is about a total learning time of 150 hours spread across that duration. So depending on which cohort you enroll in, so kind of our standard length is 12 weeks, so that would be about 12 to 15 hours of learning time every week versus 18 weeks,
Yeah.
which is in the February cohort, and that's about 8 to 10 hours per week.
So that's like doing part-time grad school. I mean, that's a big investment
Yes.
of time, but you get a lot out of it as a result.
Get
It's
a
not
lot
like-
out of it.
Yeah. So who teaches the courses, and how does that relate to Harvard Business School?
So the 3 courses are all taught by tenured Harvard Business School faculty. All of them have been with the school for dozens of years and are well renowned for their teaching expertise. Economics for Managers is taught by Bharat Anand.
Okay.
He's in the strategy unit, and he really does an amazing job of just kind of bringing all of these complex issues of the business world to life. Business Analytics is taught by Jan Hammond. She's one of her areas of expertise is in supply chain and management. And then Financial Accounting is by Vijay Narayanan, who is one of the heads of the second-year curriculum at Harvard Business School. So by participating in CORE, you really do get to learn from some of the best teachers at Harvard Business School.
And what kind of access would a student have to those professors? Since it is an online course, and it's a little bit different than sort of being right there in the classroom. What's that experience like?
Sure. So one really cool thing about the CORE program and that we've built in is that about halfway through the course, we have an HBX live session.
Okay.
And that's where you can they do a poll and you might get selected to be on the wall. There's about 60 screens.
Okay.
And so that's 60 participants that will go, and you'd have live interaction with one of those 3 faculty, either with Jan or Bharat or BG, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then even if you aren't able to actively participate, we do have an observer model, and we also record it. So it's another great way to see what happened and to go through the case study method as well.
Fantastic. So when you're taking these courses, how do you get grades? How does that grading part all work?
So there's a couple of different ways that you're graded, and we really focus in CORE on grading your entire experience with the program.
Okay.
So there's 3 main pieces to it. There's 17 modules throughout the 3 courses. Each module concludes with a quiz, so that's a portion of your grade.
So 17 grades right
17,
there.
17 grades right there. There's a final examination, and that's one of the things that really differentiates CORE from other programs, is that we really are assessing your ability to demonstrate that you've mastered the content. That's the majority of your final grade.
Okay.
And then the balance is participation, because we really do expect people to be engaged. Kristina mentioned peer help as one of the ways that you work with the other members of your cohort. And that's a key part of the whole learning model at Harvard Business School, is that if you've got a question about debits or credits or pricing in a particular industry, you don't go to the faculty member, you go to other members of your cohort. And you may be stronger in accounting, you might be stronger in analytics, and the idea is that you help each other learn. And that's part of the grading model, and it's really part of the overall experience.
Yeah, and it's part of what keeps people so connected after it's over, right? So about the final, let's say I'm in Morocco. How do I take the final?
So we have the final exam. It's administered through the Pearson VUE testing centers, and there's about 4,800 of those spread out all around the world. And what happens is we have a full engagement team here, and they'll let you know throughout the course, provide information of signing up, making sure you're authorized to take the final exam and schedule a date that works for you. And after every cohort, there's always about a 2-week period where you have the option to take your final exam, which is nice. So you can look ahead, see the calendar, and plan accordingly if you do have work travel plans or anything else. So we try to be as accommodating and flexible as we can.
Perfect. So let's just assume that there's some people watching today that are feeling like this is a good fit. This is where they are in their careers. It's within their budget. They're excited about this discount. What do they do? What do they do now? What's the next step?
Well, really, the next step is there's additional information on the JA Worldwide website. Under the alumni menu, there's a drop-down for the HBX CORe program. There's a number of FAQs that are available there. So hopefully that will answer the majority of your questions. If there's other questions you've got, we can answer them today or in the chat following. But after that, it's really pretty simple. There is a short application questionnaire on the JA website, and then we'll let you know how to take it from that point on to complete your registration and make payment for the program.
Perfect. So that's jaworldwide.org/HBX, or as Ross said, you can go to the main menu at the top. There's an opportunity for alumni there. As it drops down, you'll see HBX. There is a little form that you can complete. It won't take you a whole lot of time. And there are lots of links to the HBX site so that you can interact with the two. All right, we've got
I just wanted to mention on the website, so if people are curious about the date ranges, all of the cohorts are on there. So our most current one that we're offering is the January cohort, and that starts on January 10th.
And registration is due tomorrow.
Is due
so
tomorrow.
If you want to take January, you have one more day to let us know. Yeah.
Exactly. And then
February
starts on February 14th. And the unique thing about the February cohort, I do want to mention, is that it is over 18 weeks. So if you do have, a full-time job or anything, it's really great because your work is balanced a little better with, only 8 to 10 hours of learning time per week,
but
that
it
you're
does go on
investing.
longer. And
Exactly, it does go on longer. So take a look at the calendar just so that you can see the dates and if that time frame would work for you to sign up.
And on our website, it just shows the starting. It just shows the month. It'll say February, January, that sort of thing. You'll have to link through the HBX site to see the exact dates, but
yeah, that February cohort was really designed for people that need to be able to balance this program with other aspects of their life.
Right. And will you have more of those, you think?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right, we have a question coming in from Facebook regarding the asynchronous model. Can you talk more about gated modules and keeping people at the same place in the program as you go along?
Absolutely. So when I say it's asynchronous, it means that you don't have to be online at any particular day of week or time of day. You get to choose the time that works for you. But we recognize that it's really hard for people to keep up with a program without some sort of a schedule. So using the 18-week February cohort as an example, each of the modules in the program are, we think of as being released at a certain date. So we make the content available so that people can work through it. And we also have deadlines for when the quizzes need to be completed.
Okay.
Because we found that by giving people kind of more defined deadlines and a routine throughout the program, their chances of completing the program are much, much higher. It keeps them engaged, and it also keeps everybody moving in the course at the same pace, so that we're all learning about maybe debits or credits, or how to do multiple regressions at the same time, so that if we have questions, we can help each other out. And it really does help make for a much more cohesive learning community.
So there's flexibility, but with ranges.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay.
And one thing I don't think we mentioned too is that, just so you understand, with the 3 courses, you're taking all of them simultaneously. So it's not that, you're just taking business analytics first, then financial accounting, then economics for managers. So it is hard to kind of grasp your head around it in the beginning, but when you do see a course calendar, you'll see, week 1, 1 quiz for business analytics is due, and then, the second week, then a quiz for financial accounting and economics is due. So anyway, that just to clarify that.
Fantastic. Okay, so one of the questions that that I've had is, where, like, let's say I'm thinking about grad school, about business school. I'm not sure if I'm ready, I'm not sure if it's for me. Is this a way to sort of tiptoe into
Yeah.
that? Is that?
It really is, and a lot of people who've taken the CORe program, there's been about 12,000 people who've taken it over the last 2.5 years. A lot of them are actually taking it to find out if they've got a real interest in this type of subject matter. So some of them are using it as a way to think about, do I want to go to undergraduate business school?
Right.
And a lot of them are people who know that that is the path, and they're using it to help prepare themselves.
Right.
So we've got a number of people who've taken CORe and gone on to use it as part of their application package to business
Right.
school.
Yeah, I bet it's impressive.
But one of the really interesting things is, one of the main reasons that CORe was originally developed was to prepare incoming Harvard MBA students to be
Oh,
successful.
interesting.
So
Uh-huh.
almost a third of the incoming class of 900 takes all or part of the CORe program, so that they're really able to participate on that first day of class.
That's right.
So it gets them up to speed, and we're really starting to see now that we've been doing it for a couple of years, these people are able to perform, you know, in
Right.
ways that they couldn't have otherwise,
Right.
because they didn't have this type of education before.
And the cool thing that's unique to it is back to the case method, is that while you're going through, these are actual, you know, real cases with real companies that the faculty, when interviewed, you know, and you'll be interacting with the case protagonist on the platform and going through those case studies.
Right.
And so that's a really great way to kind of dive into those fundamentals of business
right.
and feel like if that's, you know, something for you. So that's
Yeah.
a really interesting part. And the other thing too is we should mention that there is no prerequisites either for the
Okay.
CORe program. So there is no prior business knowledge
Right.
needed to take the course.
So you're ready for it, if you're ready to learn and ready to commit.
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
and I don't think we can emphasize enough how important the case method is,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you learn a lot of
Talk a
things.
little about that.
You learn a lot of things in this program that you might have learned in other parts of your college or educational
Mhm.
career, but you probably never learned them in the context of a real-world situation. So you might have learned or taken economics before,
Sure.
but if it's like the way most schools teach economics, you're learning about policy and curves. You're
Yeah.
not learning about how real companies use this to make better business decisions.
Right, right.
And you might have taken a course in statistics and learned how to do a regression, but
Right.
you've never really seen how real companies use it. And you know, regression is a great example. We worked with Amazon.com as one of our case studies in the business analytics course, so that we can see how real executives use these techniques
Right.
to manage their inventory, to improve their profitability, to improve the way the business runs. So you're not just learning the theory for the sake of the theory, you're
Yeah.
learning it to be able to actually be a better business person.
Yeah.
And to what apply it to an example.
Exactly.
You know,
And then
because
turn
that
around and
helps
use it.
you learn.
That's right.
Exactly.
So I don't want to put you
Real
guys on the
situation.
spot, so if you can't think of any examples, that's fine, but I'm wondering if you have some stories of, you know, unique people who've come in and who've really benefited from this, even from backgrounds you wouldn't have anticipated. Just while you're thinking about it, the HBX website, to which we link from jaworldwide.org/HBX, has so many videos and so many stories of people who have taken the course, and really from all walks of life, from all countries. Just it's a wonderful example. And then, if you were to Google HBX CORe, you're going to find nothing but great comments. It's really, that's sort of my test, is, you know, how legit are these people? And I saw just people saying, you know, well, you know, somebody will ask the question, like, is it really worth it? And somebody will answer, well, I took the course in, you know, 2015, and I'm here to say that, yes, absolutely, it's the best thing I've ever done for my career. So you don't generally get that level of testimonial just in Googling. But are there some examples that you guys want to share with some people?
There's really more than you could possibly go through in a session like this, but you know, we've had entrepreneurs who are starting their own businesses, and I think there's a great video on our website of a gentleman named Guarang who
Yeah.
runs blogs and websites on football or soccer.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've had people who've gone on to business school, we've had people that have really used this as ways to advance themselves in their own companies. It's a
Yeah.
way to demonstrate, you know, that they're ready for more responsibility.
Right.
You know, and people from all different backgrounds. Like we've got people who come from, you know, taken business undergraduate programs. You know, I remember 2 summers ago working with a gentleman who had a PhD in mythology. And he realized that
Yeah,
the career prospects are kind of minimal
right.
with that educational background, and this for him was a way to go out and start to engage with employers.
Right.
And he called me after some interviews, and he said, this was really what he talked about in his interviews, because it gave him that ability to really show that he was interested, that he could do the work, and that this was a way to think differently about him than the other candidates that he was competing against.
Right. You mentioned entrepreneurs. We obviously have a lot of those in JA land. What's their experience like? So they're, let's say it's a JA alum who has started a business, maybe in high school, maybe in college, and has continued that business or went on to start a similar one or a bigger one. That person's running a business, getting a lot of day-to-day hands-on experience. What will that person learn through this program that will help that small business thrive?
I think it'll help them, if nothing else, it'll help them understand their customers better. The economics course in particular is a great way of just thinking more broadly about the business world and what problem you're trying to solve with your product or your service. And how do you engage with your customers? And how do you actually figure out demand and how to price your product? And if you've taken an economics course at a typical college, you're going to be given a supply and a demand curve. But that's not the way it works in real life. You actually have to be able to figure that out yourself.
Yeah.
And the faculty too, the way that they designed CORE and the way that students learn from the kind of outline of the program and how it was designed. We've just heard from so many participants and students, the way that it's taught is what has been really helping them because they can relate to it. Rather than, if you did take any of the business courses in undergrad, this is completely different. Because you are different focus, and that you have to constantly interact with the platform and see real world examples that have gone on. So I think that's a special thing because so much thought went into the development of the course and that outline.
And one of the 3 courses is in financial accounting, so it will teach you how to build your own statements, how to build a budget, how to analyze your own business to look for opportunities to improve.
That's right.
Business analytics is going to teach you how to look at data differently so that you can figure out how you can make changes in the way you run your organization to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think what's really interesting is about 30–35% of the students that have gone through the CORE program have been sponsored by their employers.
Wow.
So these are companies, and some of the best known names in the business world are putting their own employees through this program so that they can help advance them in the organization as well.
So a couple things I would say to JA alumni about that is, one, if you're working for a company, ask your employer if this is something that can be covered as a part of your training, as a part of your learning budget. And if you're an entrepreneur, consider sending some of your employees to CORE so that they can get up to the speed of business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So from a recruitment corporation perspective, this is something that companies are just really impressed by. Is that what you're seeing? Yeah.
It is, because when an employer or a recruiter sees CORE on an application, they're really starting to understand the rigor of the program and what's expected of somebody to be successful. And if you're one of the 15 or 20% of the people who graduate with honors or high honors, that really means that you've excelled. And it's a great way to differentiate yourself on your resume. It's a fantastic way to really guide the conversation when you're talking with a potential employer. Because you can start to make connections that you probably wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
It sounds like a great investment. It really does. All right, so I think we've pretty much exhausted the questions that have come up. We're going to wrap up. A couple things to remind you of. jaworldwide.org/HBX is where you get more information. In there, we link to the Harvard site, so you don't have to remember both. Just check into ours, and we'll send you over there. We're also going to be, so tomorrow is the last day to register for January. Of course, you can continue to register for February, for April, and the ones throughout the spring and summer. And then one more thing is we're actually going to be following a JA alum who's also a staff member in our Young Enterprise over in the United Kingdom. We're going to be following her as she takes this course. So she's going to be checking in with us. She might be doing a little bit of guest blogging, that sort of thing. So look for that. If you're still on the fence and you're not sure if this is something you want to do, you'll kind of be able to live through her experiences as we go along. So look for that. And I'm thinking maybe New Year's resolution here for some people. This is a way to really get your business skills going and maybe something that you can start in the new year. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you here, and we'll keep checking in on social media. Thanks a lot. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Terry.
much.
It's been great.
Thank you.